Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Bree and it's time for our quarterly review. I know you've been working really hard to reach your goals, whatever those goals may be. It's time to check in and see how we're doing. For this video, I wanted to try to combine my monthly favorites as well as treating it as a check-in for how I've been doing with trying to keep track of meeting my 2026 goals. I did make a video previously where I talked about my 2026 ins and outs, so that video relates a little bit to this video. I just wanted to make a quarterly check-in where I talk to you guys about all of the media that I've been consuming, what beauty products I've been loving, if any, what snacks I've been enjoying, if any, and just have a little yap sesh. Grab your drink of choice and let's go ahead and get started. We're starting off with books. I read a total of 3 books so far this quarter, so 1 book a month. That's on track to meeting my goal of reading 12 books this year. I do kind of want to push myself to see if I can do 15. I don't know how attainable that is, but we'll see. The first book I read was The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. This is a really great way to start off the year. It was a little slow at first, so I almost gave up on it, but I had been seeing so many people rave about it on TikTok and YouTube, and it was always a recommended book whenever I went to any bookstores. So I really wanted to stick through with it, and I'm glad that I did. It was amazing to see the character development in the main character as the story went on. We went from seeing her as a little girl who just followed her mom's orders and didn't really question anything, to the point where we saw her start questioning that and wondering why it is that we're doing, why it is that we're living the life that we're living, and the harm that it's potentially causing. And I really loved seeing that progression happen as the book went on. It's a little hard to put into words, but I can start as I'm growing older, I'm starting to question the things that we're doing, and I'm allowed to say no to certain things, or to most things, to be quite honest. And it's okay. I'm kind of just becoming my own person, and that's how I started seeing that progression for the character. But it was an overall really great read. I definitely do recommend it. Next is Butter by Asako Yuzuki. I gave this book 3 stars. I saw it recommended so many times on all of my social medias, and I was really excited to read it and get into it, but I think the story, it just fell short for me. It felt like a little bit of a slice of life more than a mystery, and it was overall just very boring for me. I really wanted to like it, but I did almost give up on it a third of the way in, and at times I was kind of just like, I'm probably missing something, considering the fact that it is so widely recommended. However, I just don't think the book was for me. Not that it was a bad book, it just wasn't the book for me. Last book that I read for the quarter is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I gave this story a 3 out of 5 stars overall. I definitely understand the hype behind it. I can see how it relates to a lot of the real world events that we're currently going through. I had a very hard time really immersing myself into the book due to the lack of descriptors. I just wish there was more story building and more context to the past. As it stands, you understand what happened and how they got there, but I kind of just wish there was more descriptors and just more storytelling there. You don't necessarily need that because the book stands as it is, but it was just kind of really hard to fully immerse myself without knowing what led to that, what caused that, we're kind of told, but we're also kind of kept in the dark. I was also a little bored of how the ending came to, it kind of left off on a cliffhanger, but I don't know if the cliffhanger was good enough for me to want to read the second book. Not a bad book to read by any means, but not my favorite that I've read so far. Moving on to movies, I watched a total of 11 movies so far this year. However, I'm only going to be talking about the movies that I saw premiering in theaters. But if you guys are interested in seeing what I've watched so far, I will link my Letterboxd as well as my Goodreads down below. Starting off with Marty Supreme, I gave this movie 3 out of 5 stars. It was a good movie, but it was so long, unnecessarily long. I don't think it needed to be 2.5 hours. If it weren't for Fran Drescher, oh my gosh, if it weren't for The Nanny and Tyler the Creator, I don't know that I would have given it 3 stars. I really enjoyed their roles and what they had to offer, like what they added to the movie. As a ping pong movie on its own, I don't think it was that great. I just can't get over how long it felt long. No Other Choice. I gave this movie 4 out of 5 stars. This was such an excellent movie. It was great. I loved the way that it was filmed and edited. I have not seen any other movie be filmed and edited in this way. I also really appreciated how original the storyline was. Father / main character, a worker for a paper factory. It was so intriguing to me because I've never seen that done before. I loved the unique storyline. I loved the way that it was filmed and edited. It was such a great watch. I loved seeing this movie in theaters. Next is The Housemaid. I gave this movie 2 out of 5 stars. This movie would have been so much better if it weren't for Sydney Sweeney. I am so sorry. I just personally think that Sydney Sweeney's acting is so subpar. It's so bad. Go girl, give us nothing. I think the only saving grace this movie had was Amanda Seyfried. She is such an amazing actress. Every time she came on screen, I was immediately sucked in. It was just amazing how well she played her role. And at no point did I ever think, I haven't read the book. It is on my to read list. Wish they would have chosen someone else for Sydney Sweeney's role. If you watched the movie, let me know what you think in the comments below. But Amanda Seyfried was this movie's only saving grace. Next, we have Iron Lung. I gave this movie 2 out of 5 stars. I really wanted to like this movie, especially because it was directed and filmed and starred by Markiplier. Guys, it was such a snooze fest. I fell asleep 20 minutes into the movie. I would wake up at times during the movie and still understood what the whole movie was about. I get the concept is the same as a video game and it stayed very true to the video game, but it is a movie and I kind of wish we were given more. Also, not to mention, lighting choices that were made for this film were so bad. You're already in a very dark room watching this movie, and to make the movie itself so dark where you can barely see what you're watching. Part of the reason why I fell asleep was because I couldn't see, I couldn't tell what I was seeing. And then again, the audio editing choices, I understand what they were trying to do, where they were trying to make you feel like you were going crazy as the character was going crazy. The way that it was done was so badly done where you couldn't hear what was being said, so you were missing, or in my experience, I was missing parts of the storyline. Besides having fallen asleep, when I would wake up and I was listening to this happen, I was missing key points to the storyline because I couldn't hear anything. I understand that you were trying to be driven crazy from all the voices that you were hearing, but I couldn't even understand what was being said. Next, and the last movie I saw this quarter, is Wuthering Heights. I gave this movie 3 out of 5 stars. This might be a little bit of a hot take, but I personally really enjoyed the movie. I think the editing, the costuming, the scenery, all of it was so beautiful. It was such an aesthetically pleasing movie, and I loved watching every single bit of it. It was just beautifully curated, in my opinion. However, it is not a 100% adaptation to the book. After seeing all of the critiques it was receiving on TikTok, I did start reading the book Wuthering Heights. I'm not finished with the book. I'm halfway through the book, but I can see how it like the movie is an adaptation of the book. Granted, I agree that they could have chosen someone else for Heathcliff. Like, I think having Jacob Elordi as Heathcliff, not necessary. I'm also just tired of seeing Jacob Elordi everywhere. I see how the movie is an adaptation of the book, and I did like the movie, but I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on that. So moving on to series/TV shows. I've seen a total of 5 series this quarter. Also, just a little disclaimer, all I watch are K-dramas. They're just what I tend to lean to. However, I am open to other show recommendations. Please drop them in the comments below. We're gonna start off with the most boring one, which is Singles Inferno Season 5. I gave this show 3 out of 5 stars. I always start like all of the Singles Inferno seasons. I never finish them. They just get boring. I don't really care for any of the characters, but this season number 5, oh my god. It brought in so much drama. Was it staged? Probably. Did it still take me in? 100%. So the second series I watched was The Art of Sarah. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It is such a great drama, guys. I haven't binged something like that in such a long time. I think it took me 3 days to finish this. It started off great, but I do think the ending was a little bit weak. It does make sense the way that it ended, but I do think it felt a little rushed. Like, I don't know. I think I kind of wanted a little bit more than what was given. I loved seeing the Sarah Kim's character unfold and kind of see how we got from point A to point B. It was really fun. I think the story was beautifully told, and it was edited in a way that was easily digestible. At no point did I ever get lost or was wondering how we got here. It was all just perfectly done. So would recommend watching this show if you haven't already. We have our first 5 out of 5 star recommendation, and it's Boyfriend on Demand. Loved this series, guys. Like, I know I just said I haven't binged a show like that in forever with The Art of Sarah, but truly, this was such a fun show for me to watch. It had me giggling and kicking my feet. I loved all the tropes that it mentioned and how they were portrayed. It just felt like what reading a really good fanfic felt. You know, I got all the feelings. It was so beautifully curated. I thought Jisoo's and Inguk's chemistry was amazing. Like, they worked so well together and they were paired so perfectly. I would watch the show again. I think I will watch this show again. I just loved it. I loved how it made me feel so giggly. It just reminded me of, you know, K-dramas from 2016 where like they actually made you feel all of the emotions, and I loved it. Next is Can This Love Be Translated? I gave this drama 3 out of 5 stars. This is another case of I wanted to love it so badly. I love Kim Sono as an actor. He's such a talented actor, and he is the perfect male lead in my opinion. Like, he knows how to charm the audience. Such a great actor in my opinion. The chemistry between the two leads was just not there. Like, it felt very forced. It just didn't exist. There was no chemistry between them. I think the female lead, I forget her name, she was a little bland. I don't know if that's just like how the character like was supposed to be, but I don't know. I kind of just wish I saw a little bit more emotion from her. She was just very that's the best way I can describe it. So I was a little disappointed. I did finish the show. Another comment I want to make is I feel like it was badly translated on Netflix. I would be watching the show at times and then some of the dialogue just wouldn't make sense. Like, I felt like some stuff was lost in translation or it wasn't translated correctly, because I would be watching, you know, the drama and I thought everything would be going well, but then they'd be breaking up and arguing. And then last but certainly not least is Idol or Idol I can't remember exactly the show name. I gave this series 2 out of 5 stars. And again, I'm gonna say this, you guys are gonna get tired of it. I wanted to love it but it fell short. It is such a cute trope and it's such a cute idea in theory, but I just think it was not executed correctly. Like the whole I'm gonna date my bias, I'm gonna date my favorite band member, I'm gonna date my favorite singer trope, like that is peak fanfic. Like that is peak middle school fanfic, high school fanfic. That was what I was reading on Wattpad and Quotive. And so when I saw this, I said, oh my god, yes, I'm an adult getting to meet and date and fall in love with my favorite idol. The scenes were a little cringe and again, the chemistry sometimes felt a little forced, but other times it was pretty good. Twist, Sooyoung, her role, I don't think it suited her well. I think she did a really good job at portraying the lawyer aspect of her role correctly, but portraying the fangirl part of her role, it felt forced. Like I don't think this woman has ever known how to be a fangirl, if I'm being completely honest. It just, like, yes, everything that fangirls do was being done, but it just felt like, obviously it is a show, it is fake, but I don't know. Also, I just feel so bad for Jaeyoung. That man should not be acting as an idol anymore. Put that man in a different role. Like sometimes it was so cringe. I am so sorry. Let's move on to beauty, the topic of beauty. There's two things, technically three, that I've really been loving this quarter. Starting off with the Lush Supermilk shampoo and conditioner. I asked for a sample, and guys, the sample size lasted me 7 hair wash days. You definitely need the smallest amount to wash your hair, or at least I did. And not only that, the scent lasted in my hair. I loved it. I've never had shampoo leave my hair smelling so good ever before in my life. The fact that the shampoo did that, I felt so pretty. I don't know why that made me feel so pretty, but it did. I loved it so much. I will be buying the full-size product, especially seeing how much bang for your buck you get. Like, amazing. Definitely recommend the Glossier Doux Perfume. I love this perfume so much. It's quickly become one of my favorites. It lasts on my clothes days after I spray it on. It smells so good. I don't need to worry about touching up my perfume whenever I'm wearing that. Musky and sweet and vanilla / coconutty. Paired with the Supermilk shampoo, I loved how I smelled. Like it was just such a sweet musky combination and I loved it so much. Basically all I want to say is I loved the way that I smelled this last quarter. Okay guys, I've been yapping for 41 minutes now. This has been a lot of fun. I loved sharing everything that I consumed this last quarter. Let me know what you guys think by leaving a comment below. Also let me know if we've seen / read any of the same things and what your thoughts are on those items. And if you guys are interested in seeing other videos like this, please let me know by leaving a like and subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!